Hello everyone and welcome to D&D News. How's it going? It is very good to see you all in this happy, fun place. I am Greg Tito and I am here to give you everything you need to know about what's happening in Dungeons & Dragons world. So come, sip some coffee with us, pull up a chair. I will be caffeinated and ready to go, talking nonstop for this hour as we prepare for Dice Camera Action episode 126, Ring Wrath, part 1. Ooh, I love that Chris Perkins, Dungeon Master Extraordinaire for Dice Camera Action, names all of his episodes as if they were, episodic TV episodes. Episodic TV episodes. Have you ever heard of those? I started rewatching Game of Thrones in preparation for the premiere of the last season in April. Those first few episodes really hold up surprisingly well for it being 8 years old at this point. But I love that now in the current media landscape, we have shows like Dice Camera Action and other weekly D&D streams, all on this channel, some on other channels, all across the interweb, talking through these type of weekly stories. I think they're fantastic. So Ring Wrath Part 1 is going to have all of the Waffle crew, which is, of course, Jared Knabenbauer, Holly Conrad, Anna Prosser, and Nathan Sharp. But they will be joined by two other special guests returning, Erica Fermina and Rachel Seeley. You might have seen them on Girls Guts Glory, most recently wrapping up their recent episodes and season of that. They will be reprising. I always got that confused, even when I was a musical theater person. Is it a reprise? Reprise? You're going to have some reprisals against your mispronouncing of reprise. But they will be coming back as amazing characters from Dice Camera Action past. I don't know if I want to even spoil it for you, but those of you who are longtime fans of the show may remember. Look it up on the Dice Camera Action wiki if you need to. They are going to be bringing back some old storylines, some of them involving a mystical ring. That's not, my wedding ring is not a mystical ring, but you can pretend like it is a mystical ring, like I often do, which is weird because I have it on right now and I'm not invisible. Maybe I will be in a few moments. Sorry, that was a very loud slurp. I apologize if you have any slurp, non-fans out there. I don't know what you would call those people who are not into slurping. And Illyria says Reprusha, not Reprosha, which I don't even know what that means, but it's hilarious and I love it. Oh, thank you, Daly, for the phonetic spelling in there, and I'm sure there's lots of other people in there who are, yes, everybody making fun of the way that I say reprisal. Reprisal? Reprisal. All right, you got it right. It was a succulent slurp, says Burgul. Yes, it was. Very, very succulent. That's true. So I am here to go through, as you know, a whole bunch of the things that are happening in Dungeons & Dragons world. Last week, I talked to you about some new things that will be coming in this hour as we prep for Dice Camera Action starting in about 55 minutes. And I'll get to those. Might want to jump to them now, but I want to at least let everybody know that there are fun D&D products out there. Gosh, I feel like I went through all these so much last year, but I bet there are people tuning in who don't know at least some of these. So I am going to talk about ones that are near and dear to my heart, which is one called Adventures Outlined. That is a D&D coloring book that was created by Todd James, otherwise known as Reese. He is I don't know if you would call like a graffiti artist, but that kind of style. And he brought to life several D&D monsters in a kind of line art that you can draw in and color on your own. I think it's really evocative for kids to be able to color in those monsters, and there is awesome text, mostly on the facing pages, written by D&D writer Adam Lee, that bring to life some of those characters on the opposite pages or lore about the monsters themselves. In the slew of all the stuff that came out at the end of last year, I feel like this coloring book got short shrift. So if you are interested in delving into the artwork and some of the visual elements behind Dungeons & Dragons, but not necessarily the overt painterliness of a lot of the D&D art. More line drawings evocative of, the TSR art. Pick up Adventures Outlined, color it in with your families. I know it's a nice pastime that me and my family enjoys coloring in books together. Sometimes they're of the more cartoony or simple way of presenting coloring books, and I like having some monsters to color in this set. So check that out if you can. There was also a D&D calendar, which, it being January, I always want to make people aware of this. It has artwork from many of the books from years past. I don't think anything from 2018, but there is stuff from 2016, 2015, and before, including from Tyranny of Dragons, the Out of the Abyss, Rage of Demons storyline. The Demogorgon in that one is pretty cool. I do it like this. That means Demogorgon, but it's wavy tentacles through the air. His two-headed Demogorgon face there. And it's, FYI, it's the Demogorgon from Out of the Abyss, the Demon Lord, which is inspired by the Demogorgon in the Demogorgon mini that was in the Stranger Things episode 1, although they do look very differently. And then, of course, the one thing that everybody should be checking out now, if they haven't already, is Dungeon Mayhem, a card game that takes 4 iconic D&D classes, splits up cards amongst all those classes, and lets you battle it out with against your party members. Simple game to learn the iconography and the art. Excuse me, this coffee is making me belch in the middle of my talking, so I'm gonna drink more. The different decks for the art of the different cards in Dungeon Mayhem are really evocative. Great visual cues. You don't have to explain too many rules to pick up Dungeon Mayhem. You can literally learn it in 5 minutes or less, and a simple game will play out in usually less than 10 minutes as well. So it's very cool. You should check it out. Sound is a bit low. Yes, Not Halfwing says, I freaking love Dungeon Mayhem, and I love that because I've heard that everywhere. It does have a lot of humor involved, and it's got that element of being simple to learn, but there's some interesting strategic choices in there, and there are interesting ways to think about how you could expand that game. Let me just say that there's 4 classes currently in the game. Will there be 5? I don't know. Maybe we'll take away some classes and there'll be 3. That seems like a compression. How come game companies don't release compressions, only expansions? Seems weird. Anywho, those are some of the bigger names of things out there. There was, of course, Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, Waterdeep Dungeon and the Mad Mage, big stories in there that you can jump into settings. Did anybody check out PAX South Acquisitions Incorporated? They are in the world of Ravnica. Dungeon Master Jeremy Crawford has been going through and leading the charge there for those adventures as they battle against some of the fun stuff. I believe they were in the Undercity below Ravnica dealing with Golgari, and there may have been some potty humor involved with the conclusion, and I can't wait to see where it ends up, potentially at PAX East for another Acquisitions Incorporated session set in Ravnica. Really cool addition of having WWE superstar Xavier Woods to the cast. I think he added a totally different energy, and it's fantastic. So if you haven't checked it out already, please look for it. We will be getting up the video as soon as we can. I'm not sure if it's going to go on our channels or if we'll just be pointing to the Penny Arcade channels for where you can grab that, because it is fantabulous and everybody should see it. And I love that Acquisitions Incorporated has these long tails for folks to be able to jump in and watch at any time for this long form ongoing storyline. Pretty cool stuff all around. Looks like PAX South was tons of fun for a lot of people. The Waffle Crew did some wonderful things there. Their session of dungeon mastering for each other on one-on-one things thought were really cool. What did you guys think? Did you get a chance to watch that on Saturday? Yeah, I'm obviously Chris is going to have to deal with the fallout from that, as well as their Q&A for everything that was going on at PAX South, and not to mention, I'm really excited to see what's happening with this book that is being put together. So Penny Arcade also talked a little bit about a book that Dungeons and Dragons is publishing using Acquisitions Incorporated and working hand in hand with the folks at Penny Arcade, Jerry Holkins, and of course the inimitable, which is a word I use quite often, but now I am making sure that I get it all right for you. But yeah, no, it looks really amazing. I can't wait to share more information about that, and it's going to be pretty cool. Actually, I can use some of these fun things that we're able to do now and tell you about one of the stories there. So, this one was written by our friend Christian Hoffer. Hello, Christian, if you're listening. Thank you for writing this up. This article was pretty badass, letting everybody know about what's happening with this book. Again, we'll be giving more and more information about this going forward, but wanted to make sure you here watching D&D News knew that it was a partnership about what's going on. So, yeah, it's a project. It is happening. We'll be giving way more information in the months to come. But I love the way they talked about it here. That they will be that players will be able to franchise their very own branch of Acquisitions Incorporated to use in their own game, and that's a great way to frame it because I think that is it's pretty much what it is. And of course, our friends at Bleeding Cool talked about this as well. Gavin Sheehan wrote this up. And I love this quote from, I think it's from Jerry. At its core, Acquisitions Incorporated is really a kind of medieval office comedy, a farce. It's broad, everyone knows the rules and the tropes. And I think that's totally true about what makes Acquisitions Incorporated special and different from other flavors of D&D out there. It is, of course, I know, fantasy, comedy. You might have thought that, but you know, the idea that it is making fun of office culture has been running throughout, you know, all the intros, as well as the idea of interns and moving up and CEOs and contracts and all that stuff. So if you're into that kind of specific brand of comedy, as well as the you know, madcap, high stakes hilarity that happens at the Acquisitions Incorporated tables, then I think what we're working on will be perfectly right up your alley. So you can go check it out. Right. What did you guys think about all that? Flump in a hat. But are you really people? I don't know if you are people. Hey, Blue Streak 1018. You are listening. Yeah, and Morgan Webb was amazing. I love that she has been this long running character coming back. Yeah, Genghis Galahad. Yeah, you can charter your own franchise, which, you know, I think is just a really neat way to bring people into that world. All right, so I had, you know, that was pretty much PAX South. I had some other fun stuff that I wanted to throw out there. Also in the press, before I move on to highlighting some of the fun moments from the videos that are produced here on this D&D channel. We have a new special, you know, kind of summary video to show you guys some highlighted moments, which I can't wait to get to. I'm also going to be showing you some pictures from an Adventurers League event, as well as you know, shouting out some fun Adventurers League news and ways to find out more about what's happening with that. So that'll be more to come. But for now, let's talk about some more D&D in the press. So this is an interesting one I want to just throw out there because it's not one that we talk about very often. Your Tango is a you know, I guess you'd call it like a lifestyle magazine, kind of focusing on women in fashion and things like that. But they wrote up a 20 best board games of 2019, which is, you know, things to come. And the Dungeons & Dragons Core Rules gift set was listed number, I don't know actually if it was a number on there, but it was listed in there. And I like to highlight these type of things because It's not often, or at least, in the before times, Dungeons and Dragons would never be mentioned in something that you would say a women's lifestyle magazine. But here it is being popped up for all these things. And go check out this article because it is fairly interesting. Having some old standbys on there like Codenames and others. I like that there's this first one on here which is called Who's She, which is basically a Guess Who that has more women in it, especially women of history here. If anybody has played Guess Who with their daughters, you might realize there's a lot less women-coded pictures on the Guess Who board, and so I'm really psyched that this is one that has all women on there, especially women in history, to be able to teach that. So that's pretty neat. But so alongside all those writes up, and number 3 is the Dungeons and Dragons core rulebooks, and I love that they also link to the awesome Vox video. That's probably one of the best explainers out there for things like that. So go check that out if you're interested. It speaks, volumes as to how Dungeons and Dragons is spreading out into the cultural mainstream. I hate using words like that sometimes, but it is true. I'm sure you've all seen it, how people, are asking about this in all facets of the world, and it becomes, all due to you and the community talking about it and making it as awesome as it can be. So it's out there, what you're doing, and spreading the word about, the wonders and benefits that you can get from playing Dungeons and Dragons. That all comes from you guys. So thank you for that. Do not speak of the before times. Yes, exactly. As Ravenna 666 says, yeah, they weren't that bad, the before times, and I guess that's true. But there is, something to be said about the cultural moment that D&D is experiencing right now. And I even reluctant to say moment because that means that it's going to be gone soon, but I don't think it is. I think it's actually going to be here for a long time and keep it going forward. So. Griffins and gargoyles are everywhere, as Josie Yu pointed out. Yeah, that was crazy to think that it was in Riverdale and things like that. All right, so the last thing I kind of wanted to point out before going to a couple other fun stuff is this story here. So this was written up by Screen Rant. Again, an article, or an outlet that, would, by virtue of its name, be mostly about movies, but is more talking about D&D. And they have 20 effective... They do a lot of these list things, so that's probably where this comes in. But in this case, this is one of those list articles that I thought was really, really fascinating because it's 20 most effective tricks for beating for beating dragons in Dungeons & Dragons. Obviously, dragons are some of the hardest and most iconic villains that you will face in D&D, and they can be very tough to defeat, for lack of a better word. But I really love this idea about listing all the ways as a player that you can get through and beat the dragons out there. And it's funny that there's 20 different tactics that could be used. Obviously, there will be stronger and better around different types of dragons or the different types of encounters that you might be experiencing them in. But it is a pretty good way to fill up, your time figuring out ways to beat those dragons. And I'm so excited that outlets like Screen Rant are doing things like that. Pretty cool. Hey V2 Blast, how's it going? I almost forgot about it too until just about right now. Just kidding. No, but I'm here talking about all the things. And as Flash Flet says, 20,000 different tactics. Are there 20,000 effective tactics to use against dragons? I don't think so. But that's right. Alpha Stream says your dragon defeating tricks could be learned from Shrek, and I do think that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I think you can kill him with kindness. Is not a bad way to defeat the monsters in your games for sure. Arlena Bulletgrave, sorry, yeah, what I meant by the before times was the period of time when Dungeons and Dragons was not as popular as it is now, is basically the way I would say that. People are talking about it so much now, but as little as 5, even 10, 15 years ago, it was much more of a niche hobby, and so it's great to see people talking about it wherever they possibly could. And Majesty C2K1, 80s and 90s definitely, but I think it was as early as 10 years ago. People weren't really able to get into it as much as they are now. So it's changed. It's changed quite a bit since then. So that's what we mean by the before times. And Goblin Kitty, yes, snuggle the dragon. Snuggle the dragon into submission. It is the only way you can truly defeat the dragon inside yourself. All right. I wanted to quickly talk about some fun stuff. So Unearthed Arcana is a usually monthly column in which the D&D designers put out rules that are untested for you to test, to pick apart, to experiment with, to play to your heart's content, and find out what works and what doesn't with them, and let us know that feedback. Unearthed Arcana for last month, we skipped. There was a lot going on in the D&D design area, and rather than push something out the door, we wanted to focus on getting it ready in February for a artificer is the idea. That is what that will be. I'm loath to 100% confirm that, so I'm going to 99% confirm that it will be the artificer in the Unearthed Arcana playtest. Look for that. I hope to get that in D&D Beyond a week after it is released here, so that you can get your feedback in, but then hopefully be able to play it with your D&D Beyond character builder and figure out all that as well. You can check out Of Ships and the Sea. That is the most recent Unearthed Arcana. I believe that came out in December. That has a whole bunch of rules in it about ship stat blocks, traveling at sea, mutiny, dealing with hazards like storms and kraken, that type of thing, owning a ship, having a ship in combat. So check that out if you're interested in some playtest material that may come to the forefront pretty soon. Just throwing that out there. But yes, then the Artificer will be coming in February. So look for that if you can. I haven't highlighted this in a while, but I want to make sure people are aware of it, especially in the wake of Acquisitions Incorporated being in the world of Ravnica. We have a whole bunch of things that were created around the release of Guildmaster Guide to Ravnica that I think you should check out if you're interested in finding out more about that world. One is called the Podcasts of Ravnica. It was a promotion where 10 groups put together, mostly with the help of Jen Vaughn from D20 Dames, assembled this group to create one-shot audio dramas focusing on each of the 10 guilds in Ravnica. So some very interesting, new and exciting live play groups that you may not have heard before. This is a great way to get both the lore behind these clans or houses or guilds, and maybe learn about some new groups that are out there. So check that out. Those is available on the RSS feed we called Dungeon Delve. It is basically where a lot of our live play podcasts end up. So check that out if you would like to learn more. They were fantastic episodes, and I think more people should give them a listen if you're down. Speaking of fun podcasts that are out there, Nerd Poker. How many of you are Nerd Poker fans? Listening to Brian Posehn and Dungeon Master Dan Telfer and the amazing folks that are in that. They released a brand new campaign that started with the first episode that I believe went live this morning. So check that out. They have done stuff for us in the past for podcasts, including Podcasts of Annihilation. But the current cast right now is Brian Posehn, Sarah Guzzardo, Ken Daly, Dan Telfer, Blaine Capatch, and Chris Tallman. And they are amazing. They've had a bunch of guest stars on there, including Joe Manganiello, Scott Ian from Anthrax, you might know him, Rick Remender from Deadly Class, and comedians like Jackie Cashin. All kinds of people stop by. It's a mix of metal heads and comedy nerds playing D&D together. Dan is an amazing weaver of tales and we just kitted them out with some new miniatures. I don't want to give away anything that might happen in the new campaign that they have coming out, but check it. It's pretty cool. They are available. Yeah, that's a good place to check it out if you haven't. They're really fun, and we'll be talking to Dan Telfer as well as Blaine Capatch on Dragon Talk this Friday. 1 p.m. Pacific time is when we will be chatting. So if you want to find out more about the Dungeon Master and one of the players in Nerd Poker, tune in to this here Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DND, to find out more about all that. Cool. I can't wait. I haven't talked to Dan in a while, so it'll be great to check in. And me and Shelly are back in the swing of things as far as we can, recording on Friday afternoons, or actually starting around noon on Friday Pacific time. We'll be doing kind of banter and intros for that first hour. We'll do our interviews at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and then have a Lore You Should Know or Sage Advice segment at 2 p.m. Pacific time. I'm always looking for new segments to add, so I might be adding maybe a third or maybe even a fourth kind of segment into the rotation. We've been leaning real heavily on Lore You Should Know, especially over the last 6 months of Dragon Talk. And while I love lore, I think there's a lot of other facets of D&D stuff out there for you to get into. Speaking of which, I know we're coming up to the half-hour mark here, but one thing I want to make sure everybody knows about is a new show coming to this here channel. We are calling it Welch's Game Juice. That is where Kate Welch will be playing through video games, starting with the first Baldur's Gate, the game from 1998, I believe. She'll be playing the Enhanced Edition made by our friends at Beamdog, so it'll have a little bit of updates to the UI and things like that, but she will be playing it on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time to about 5 p.m. Pacific time. So apologies, there might have been some confusion on the announcement for the timing of that show, but it is now 100% confirmed. Thursdays, 3 p.m. Pacific time going forward. I can't wait. Kate will be doing it from this here room, even using this exact same computer and setup, as well as pressing of fun buttons. So I can't wait for that. I need to make sure and let you guys know all about this. Cool. All right. Well, that is good stuff. There will be more coming about that, as well as new and different shows in a later bit. But as I round out some of the images that I want to show you, I want to highlight two fun things we saw on Instagram, which I thought were pretty cool. So here's one. This is from Crazy Hermit DM, and I just like this as a simple beacon tower. Pretty neat. It's definitely got some ideas in here that you can mine for. I know this was made for a specific sorcery game, but you know, as any good dungeon master out there, you can certainly use it for a game. I like simple maps like this. You know, it doesn't need to be like super complex with full of 400 different rooms in it, although that's Dungeon of the Mad Mage to a T. Sometimes you can get a lot of play just from a simple room, and as it's described neatly, and having a piece of artwork like this can be pretty cool. So I like that. Shout out to I believe it's Mike Schley, who does a lot of the maps for Dungeons and Dragons. Good stuff. I love all of his artwork. And here's one other fun thing that I want to throw out there, and it's made a certain song from the 1990s get caught in my craw for a little bit while, but it made me laugh for sure. Check this out. I think DC 25 is pretty high. What do you think? Did you think you would? You're gonna be singing this song, I think, for the next 2 days, like I have. Although it doesn't really quite roll out to, if you want to be my lover, you got to pass a DC 25 persuasion check. See, totally works. I probably should have had the camera on for that one so that people could have done it. But yeah, I know, hilarious. I dig little fun stuff like that, and we'll be pointing out some more fun posts in D&D news going forward. If you ever have any ideas or see something funny that you think the rest of the community might get a kick out of, go ahead and either email me, direct message me on Twitter, or just shout me out on Twitter. I'm at Greg Tito, and always looking for new fun stuff from the community. So take a look. Even if you make some of that stuff, make it happen. Speaking of which, we would love to start highlighting more and more folks from the Adventurers League and all the play that they do around the world and the country, but mostly around the world. And so let me get to the one that I want to talk about for this one. Yes. So last week I was talking about how we wanted submissions for people playing in Adventurers League events, and I wanted to shout out one from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So let me get to it. Hold on. Here are some of those amazing photos from an event. We have this is a quote from them. They were running the epic adventure called Peril at the Port. We have a small local convention where we were able to pull together enough tables to run Peril at the Port. We had a blast with our wonderful players, amazing DMs who went all out with their costumes, as you can see here. Here they are in action. I see there's some amazing puppets, parrots, I guess you could call them. And these look like most of the DMs there. They went all out with their costumes, and they created some fabulous memories while building the D&D community. So that's very cool looking stuff. I love all those folks and that they went out and costumed up as much as they could. I love that, and I'd love to see more Adventurers League play from around the world. So if you can, please go ahead and let people know about where to send that. Again, let me know, and give me like a quick list of the folks that are able to do it. I love all the D&D epics as well too. I'm actually searching for what the email address is for you to be doing that, and I don't have it handy, or else I'd tell you on the air. But it's really cool, and I love being able to do that for folks. And I want to get more pictures of people playing all around the world. So send in your pictures of what it looks like with you guys playing. D&D Adventurers League in general is an amazing. I don't even know what to call it. I was going to say service, and then I was going to say tool, but it's neither of those things. It's really a community of people who get together to play Dungeons and Dragons in a somewhat organized fashion. So you can create your character, and it is legal in any Adventurers League event that you go in and play. They happen all over the world, as I've been saying. From game stores is probably the most common, but they can happen anywhere. And we'd love for you to find out more about that. And one good way to be able to do that. Oh, in here, I have a quote right here I should have been saying all around here. Eventually, it's a D&D's official play campaign, which means you can create an AL character and take them to your friendly local game store, conventions, charity events, even your own home, anywhere Adventurers League is played. That's the spirit of it, to be able to pick up and play wherever you can, meeting new friends, and gaming with them is always a joy, but for some folks it can be very difficult to find like-minded individuals, so Adventurers League is there to help support you do that. And if you want to find out and join that community even more, check out Adventurers Wanted. There is going to be a show this week. Is it a monthly talk show? It's every fourth Friday of the week here on twitch.tv/DND, and that's when community managers and hosts Lisa Chan and Amy Lynn DeZora are joined by a guest to this week, Jonathan Connor Self, to talk about the D8 Summit, which is a gaming convention in North Utica, Illinois. It's coming up May 3rd through the 5th, and it will benefit the Illinois Valley PADS, a homeless shelter that focuses on keeping families together while they get back on their feet. So if you want to find out more about what's happening in the world of Adventurers League, tune in on this Friday to watch at 11 a.m. Pacific time here on the D&D Twitch channel. And say hi to Lisa and Amy while you're at it, and not to mention Jonathan. Good stuff all around. I love that they are doing more of this, directly communicating to the fans about what's happening. And we're going to lend them as much support as we want, as we can. They are also tangentially talking about Dungeon Masters Guild, which the Adventurers League uses to host all the adventures that they make. That's on there. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, the Dungeon Masters Guild lets you publish your D&D 5th edition creations for fun and potentially private. It's the only platform where you can publish adventures and supplements within the Forgotten Realms, Ravenloft, Ravnica, and all the other Wizards intellectual properties that are out there. One cool note I wanted to talk about Dungeon Masters Guild, to check it out. There is a bundle of many things currently available on the DM's Guild right now. The theme of this bundle is the Crafter's Kit, and it includes rules for creating constructs and golems, cooking up potions and poisons, and for building entire cities, which is the type of Dungeons & Dragons stuff and mechanics that I love. I love just delving into supplementary things, not necessarily the nuts and bolts of the combat and the classes and things like that, but these things that really make it feel like it's a living, breathing world. Of course, any Dungeon Master can do that by just weaving their own stories and making the players feel like they're in a living, breathing world. But I like the idea of there being this simulation rules behind it, and it sounds like the Bundle of Many Things 3, the Crafter's Kit, has a lot of those things all together in one place. So that's pretty neat. And then one thing I want to just highlight is that there is a list of extras. If you're running through Dragon Heist right now, there is a ton of great extras that you can add on to playing that, including extra side quests, what's happening in Troll Skull Alley, more backgrounds, get different guides to Waterdeep that you can provide either with your players, and then some additional factions, and not to mention maps that are out there. This doesn't include one of my favorite things that was created in the Dungeon Masters Guild in regards to Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and that is rules for running your own tavern, which I want to say was Durnin's Guide to Tavern Keeping. Fantastic supplement, one that my player characters are using to run their tavern. If you like the idea of some additional ways to make a business happen, you can do it all in there. It's fun stuff. What's up, Seppa Sanders? Good to see you. I'm glad you're able to catch this stream as we get prepped for Dice Camera Action episode 124 coming in just about 20 minutes. So I wanted to highlight something kind of new, which we haven't done before, which is a video. So let me set up this video a little bit for you. We have a lot of streaming weekly shows here on the D&D channel, and we like to promote them as much as we can, but sometimes that can be hard. I've been trying to do it by talking through what makes some of these fun things cool, but I don't think that really conveys the breadth of the D&D community, as well as highlighting the best moments of the week. So we worked with an amazing man with an amazing name. His name is Steve Sprinkles. And he has created this video that is a rewind of some of the best moments here on the D&D Twitch channel for you to enjoy. We'll be uploading this to our YouTube channels, as well as others, kind of as a weekly thing. But I'm going to be highlighting it here on D&D News around this time as we get prepped for Dice Camera Action. So check it out right now. Let me know what you think. This is the first one out there, so definitely some feedback and everything are wanted. But here it is. This is the first edition of D&D Rewind. Check it out.
You reported this to the city watch yet?
I just found out.
Well, you're the captain of the card.
Yeah, you better go report this.
Yeah,
This is your
idiot.
job.
I hear everyone arguing, and it's gonna make the pie taste worse.
Look what I found.
This is Waterdeep. The real Waterdeep. The untold, mysterious, dangerous things that lie beneath it. That's the city. Not the splendor, not the bazaars, not the interesting people above, but the foundations underneath it.
A combo rendition. But I also think as a dark horse, I think Celise. I think Celise. I don't think she would admit it.
Oh, Shirofka, you're so wrong.
I don't think she would admit it, but I could just see her just belting it out in full armor.
Oh no,
It'd be great.
this is just you all know this ain't never gonna happen. No, you are so wrong.
I also have the ability to speak in any language with any creature ever. So, like, if you like me,
Wow, really?
yeah, it's something called tongues.
Tiene como cortinas. Y pueden escuchar desde el interior como sonidos de alguien moviéndose y perciben el olor de hierbas aromáticas quemándose.
¿Aromáticas como las que encontraron antes o aromáticas como clavo?
No, aromáticas como patchouli o no sé, algo así como que...
Cilantro.
No están haciendo pozole. O sea,
Yeah, I'm gonna jump down and look for him.
Absolutely.
Because people should not be going off alone.
Oh, and Mercy screams when your feet
As this
thud
armored
against
person like thuds out of the tray while I'm in the middle of doing laundry. Ah! Ah! Ah!
Raven friend upstairs. We had a talk.
A bird, or do you mean you had a squawk? That's what it sounded like, anyway.
Well, either way, it amounts to the same, doesn't it?
You have fallen so far, Rin, that now your best allies are birds.
My best allies were birds for years.
All right, that was the first edition of D&D Rewind. We'll be doing one of those each week, highlighting some of the funnest, most memorable, best role-playing moments from the week's shows. And we want to depend on you guys to kind of highlight those for us. So if you have any ideas for moments as you're watching through some of your favorite shows here on this week, create a clip of them, tweet them at me. There's also ways that you can get the word out about those specific moments or clips. I think we were going to create an email address for that too, but I think in lieu of talking through all that, definitely let the moderators know, nominate what you think would be the best. For now, just message me on Twitter with a clip that you make on Twitch. And that might be the easiest way to kind of collect all the best moments and figure out what makes, what we can assemble into something that makes sense. I loved all of those moments. I thought they were hilarious. And I see a lot of the folks that were in that were here in this year chat being pretty happy about it. I loved especially the one from Trace Albus. It made me giggle many times talking about the different aromatic things that were happening as a dungeon master. I have had so many players do that exact same thing where they take what you want to be this extremely moment full of gravitas and they turn it into talking about food or cooking or poop or something like that. So very, very human moment there. And I think there's more to be had as we go through the weeks and add and switch out more shows here on the D&D Twitch channel. So we need your help for that. Like, as I said, pay attention. If you see another clip that you think would be really great for this, again, just make it as a Twitch clip. I think you can do that pretty easily with the software there on Twitch. And shout it out to me on Twitter, and we'll come up with better mechanisms for you to kind of nominate things like this going forward. But having those timestamps and the ability to look at where that is in the video certainly helps collate, because as many people have been saying here on the chat, it makes there's a lot of content that comes out, and right now we're focusing on stuff that's on the D&D channel proper. This was a very busy weekend, I would say, for Dungeons & Dragons content. We had the Court of Swords episode 100 on the Roleplay Network. Obviously everything that was coming out of PAX South. The Critical Role live show and art show that just looked fantabulous and amazing. That was something that might have ended up in a show like this. Like I said, for right now, we're focusing on things that are on the D&D channel or hosted on the D&D channel, and we'll potentially expand that out to other areas and get more video clips in there. But wanted to make sure everyone knew what was special and different about each one of the shows that are hosted on here. So that's also a goal of this video, is to be able to have a kind of a weekly bookmark of like, here's what's happening on the D&D Twitch channel. Here's some of the shows. If you're looking for something new to get into, that might be a first place to send people, is to look at these videos to kind of see best moments and choose from there. They all look very different. They all have very different cast makeups, of course, as well as interactions and storytelling things. So it's all about having more potential fans out there be exposed to the different types of storytelling, and maybe they want to latch on to a different show here and there and follow along. So that's the goal of it. Hope everybody out there loves it. We're going to be doing a lot more of that going forward, and can't wait to do that in conjunction with you guys. Quick couple of digital things. I don't know if you saw on Critical Role last week, but the amazing Idol Champions: The Forgotten Realms, the video game that, hey, I'm actually wearing the t-shirt for it right now. They had a sponsorship on the Critical Role live show on Thursday, and it looked really awesome. I hope more people tune in and try that game out. It is for free, available on Steam right now, as well as on iOS and Android tablets, and on Xbox One and PS4. It is a game in which you send out adventurers, and they kill monsters, they collect XP and get loot, all in real time, so you can interact with them and make it better, but they kind of always are on doing that. And as far as the heroes that you can recruit, you might recognize a few of them. 3 of the 4 members of Dice Camera Action are on there. Satine's character, Valanya, is on there. There are many from all across the Dungeons & Dragons community, and including those from lore, including Jarlaxle and Drist, to name a few of the world's most favorite dark elves out there. But yeah, it's a really fun game, and I hope you check it out and jump in with it. Speaking of fun games and Acquisitions Incorporated, as I was earlier in the show, Heart of Fire is the expansion that's available now for Neverwinter on PC, as well as Xbox One and PS4. It is a 3D rendered MMO, massively multiplayer online game set in Neverwinter, or the Forgotten Realms in general. Mostly it's set in Neverwinter, but they do travel out to different areas, including the Frozen North. They went to Chult, around Tomb of Annihilation. Most recently, they were in Ravenloft. And the current expansion, Heart of Fire, is all about the characters of Acquisitions Incorporated starting up and you getting to play along with them. So that's voiced by Jerry Holkins as Omen Drawn, Mike Krahulik as Jim Darkmagic, and Amy Falcone as her character from C-Team are all voices in that. So check it out if you can. Some good stuff. And they usually follow along with the storylines that's coming out from Dungeons & Dragons. So that's a good way to play. I was going to say play solo, but play when you're not face-to-face with other folks playing Dungeons & Dragons. You can get in and experience all that. All right, some fun stuff happening on the D&D schedule that I want to let people know about. Of course, we've got Dice Camera Action, episode 126, Ring Wrath, part 1, occurring very soon in about 10 minutes. So those is going to star the Waffle Crew, including 2 guest stars, which you may recognize, Erica Formina and Rachel Seeley. I got introduced to those 2 ladies in Girls Guts Glory, but they have been doing all of fun stuff in the D&D community around in LA. They're fantastic role players. They have roles in Dice Camera Action that will be coming to the forefront very soon, and I can't wait for you to check them out. They are going to be super fun. And then at 7 p.m., we've got Sirens of the Realms. That's Satine Phoenix leading a all-girl bard band through the adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Last episode, the Sirens finally find their band manager, Valanya, and prepare to infiltrate the Castellanter estate in Waterdeep. The plan is to drive a 16-wheel carriage into their warehouse disguised as a monster delivery team, you know, like most people have monster delivery teams, and sneak into the grounds in search of the Fountain of Youth elixir machine. Will they find and destroy it? Is it really going to be that easy? I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think that's what Satine is trying to tell us. It is not going to be that easy. So that's up it for Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we have a new time for Dragon Plus. That's a show where Bart Carroll speaks to various creators in the D&D community, some here on the staff, and that is tomorrow. He'll be talking to Jeremy Crawford all hour long about mechanics and answering some of your questions. So tune in on to this channel at 1 p.m. Pacific time to talk with Bart and Jeremy Crawford. At 2 p.m. Pacific time, we're hosting Heroes of the Veil is returning with Dungeon Master Todd Kenrick, the amazing video creator and interviewer you have seen on D&D Beyond for the last, year plus. And before that, he was doing other great videos on his YouTube channel. So wonderful pillar of the D&D community. He is dungeon mastering for players Adam Bradford, Lauren Urban, hi Lauren, TJ Storm, and Hope Lavelle. So check that out if you can. Just one quick note about that: Mike Merles and Shelly Mazanoble were playing in that group here. Their bandwidth got shrunk a lot, and we're not able to join for those 2 hours each week. But Todd is going to be leading the charge and telling wonderful, fantastic stories in the Nentir Vale. So continue to check out that show as much as you can. Again, that's 2 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Then at 7 p.m. Pacific time is Inkwell Society. And then on Thursday, Adam Bradford will be returning. He's got his D&D Beyond Dev update. We'll be hosting that. Talking to you at the camera, similar format to what I'm doing here, but going on and listening to all your questions about what's happening with D&D Beyond. So if you have any questions, ways to kind of push that development of that amazing tool to create your characters, you can do it in that hour. So he's very communicative there, as well as on the forums. Then at 10 a.m. we got Encounter Roleplay Learn by Play with Dungeon Master Will Jones. They are playing through Waterdeep Dragon Heist. 1 p.m. Pacific time, we've got Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. If you're interested in that game, find out more from Dylan Wilkes, and occasionally former D&D team member Chris Dupuis will be on talking through what's happening with Idle Champions. Then we have the premiere of the brand new show this week, Welch's Game Juice, starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday. Kate Welch herself, Rosie Bay Stinger, that's right, from Seats Team, will be playing through Baldur's Gate, the Enhanced Edition. So the original game from 1998, but the Enhanced Edition from Beamdog, which made some updates to the UI and made it playable on modern systems. But other than that, all the content will remain the same. And she'll be talking all about Baldur's Gate and what made it so landmark when it was released at its time. That will be giving away tons of game codes for that Enhanced Edition during that 2 hours, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. So check it out every week on Thursdays. Put it in your calendar if you want to hear Kate Welch play Baldur's Gate and talk about, well, how awesome it is, I assume, but maybe she'll be having some fun critical things to talk about, and Minsk and Boo will definitely be a big part of that for sure. Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be really exciting. And Kika can't wait till she gets the Planescape Torment soon. But yes, that is the goal. Obviously, playing through all of Baldur's Gate will take some time, especially if it's only in 2-hour blocks each week. But you never know. There's a lot of that era of D&D game to play through, and I think that's pretty exciting. We're hosting Critical Role that night on Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then, as I mentioned earlier on the show, Adventurers Wanted, 11 a.m. Pacific time on Friday is when Lisa Chen and Alan Patrick chat with the community. Actually, I guess that's different this time around because it'll be different folks that I mentioned. Here, let me make sure I get that right. Pardon me as I scroll. Yeah, so it'll be Lisa Chen and Amy Lynn Dezura talking to Jonathan Connor Self about the D8 Summit in North Utica, Illinois. And check that out if you want to find out anything about Adventurers League and how cool it is going forward. That again is 11 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. Dragon Talk returns. We get the amazing lead-in from Lisa on that. We will be Dragon Talking from 12 noon to about 3 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be talking to Dan Telfer and Blaine Kepatch from Nerd Poker, all about the start of their new campaign there. So check it out. Best way to find out about Nerd Poker might be to go at Nerd Poker Pod to find out more about that. Then at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Fridays, Binwin plays Idle Champions. 6 p.m. as Tales from the Mist, where the amazing Dungeon Master T.K. Johnson will lead 4 Ravenloft natives through the Domain of Dread. Saturday, we've got Fistful of Platinum starting at 9 a.m. with Alan Patrick as Dungeon Master. They're using the Beetle and Grimm's Platinum Edition. Everything, all the props and maps and images you might see in that. So if you're interested in finding out about what Beetle and Grimm is doing, making boxes, that's a great way to check it out in play. 4 p.m. we're hosting Trace Albus with Elwarius as Dungeon Master, who I saw on there before. Hello. And then on Sunday, we had the return of Rivals of Waterdeep this past week, which you saw in the D&D Rewind clips, with Dungeon Master taking over for this Season 3, Sharif Jackson. He never played Dungeons & Dragons before I asked him to come with the rest of Rivals of Waterdeep to the Stream of Many Eyes, and he is now Dungeon Mastering on a live stream, and I couldn't be happier. That's amazing. At 4 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday is D4. We'll be hosting that as well with 2 co-DMs, one of which I know is in the chat, Mr. Dustin Fletcher, hello, and Devin Herndon. You saw the clip. It was probably the one clip with the most gravitas about the real Waterdeep. They will be returning. They use wonderful cameras to enhance all of the miniatures and the build that Dustin Fletcher and his team puts together. So check it out if you can. We're hosting that again at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday. I'll be doing giveaways. Yes, I meant to have the things. I'll be doing tons of giveaways for all of the fun stuff next week. So spread the word. I will have D&D t-shirts. I'll have D&D mugs for you to have next week. So I'm going to be promoting it all week long on Twitter. Follow me there. I'm at Greg Tito. I'm also at Instagram at Greg_Tito. But I want you to make sure everyone tunes in next week. You'll be able to, I know people have coveted this mug for a while. We'll be sending it out, as well as some new colorful t-shirts that don't necessarily match the black and red here. Lots of expansions of the color palette coming your way. And so we'll be giving away lots of raffles about that next week on D&D News. So stay tuned for that. I'm done talking. Thank you for listening. We are going to be back with Dice Camera Action, episode 126, very soon. And we'll be doing it right about... No, I screwed it up. Hold on. It's happening soon. Okay, bye.